My name is Julianne Black, also known as the Bread Lady, and I'd like to tell you about how to make 2 loaves of bread with my bread mix. Once you purchase a Bread Lady bread mix, it comes with 3 things inside the bag: a set of instructions, a starter mix, and a bag of bread mix. And like I say, this will make 2 loaves of bread. What you do first, you take your starter and you add it to a pint jar of water, 6 ounces of warm water. Now this water can be intimidating to a lot of people. They think they're killing their yeast, but if you will test your water out of the faucet on your wrist so that it's about the warmth of a baby bottle, you'll be fine. But add your starter mix to 6 ounces of water inside your jar. Now once you've done this, take a paper towel, fold it into 4ths, secure it to the top of the jar with a rubber band, and set it off to the side for at least 8 hours. Now those 8 hours will cause it to ferment, and that will make your sourdough. So 8 hours later, when you're ready to make your bread, you take your bread mix and you put it into what I call my mixer. Now you don't have to use a mixer. You could also use just a regular bowl and do this completely by hand. But I like to use my KitchenAid mixer with my dough hook. So empty the bread mix into your bowl. Empty your jar of starter. The directions will also tell you that you need 1/4 cup of oil, and you need a little over 1/2 cup of warm water. Again, test it on your wrist. Make sure it is no hotter than what you would give a baby. Now I'm going to turn my mixer on for about 1.5 minutes. After your bread has been mixing for approximately 1.5 minutes, you may see that it looks a little wet. You can add up to 1/4 of a cup of flour, but notice it's forming somewhat of a ball as it is mixing. I like to know that when it starts coming away from the sides of the bowl that it's ready to stop. So once I stop my mixer, I have available my bowl that already has oil in it. The sides and the bottom are oiled. I take my dough, remove it from my dough hook, and then I pour it into my greased bowl. It will be a little bit sticky, but if it's literally wet, you have not added enough flour. So if you're able to remove it from your bowl into your greased bowl, you have mixed it enough. And again, it only took 1.5 minutes. Now once it's in this greased bowl, I flip it over so that all sides are greased. Okay, once your dough has been put over into your greased bowl, take a paper towel, a piece of saran wrap, or my favorite is just a dish towel, and cover your bowl. Set it aside for 2.5 hours. Okay, 2.5 hours later, you will have a bowl of risen dough. Now we're ready to make your 2 loaves of bread. Next, take a floured surface. Just put a little bit of flour on your surface and take your dough and pour it out onto your floured surface. Now, I want to show you some tips about kneading this no-knead dough. I like to take a little bit of flour and add it to my dough until it stops sticking to my hands. Now, you will take the dough and just continually turn it over, taking your floured surface, keeping it floured. And then something I saw at Pizza Hut the other day, I thought when I was watching somebody shape some dough into pizza, they took the dough on their floured surface and they started rotating it like this. And I think this is a good method of shaping your dough. So with my left hand, I'm rotating my dough. Keep your surface floured, okay? And with my right hand, I'm just pressing down as I circle it. And I'm not going to do it but just a few seconds, really. Okay, now I've got my dough. I take it and I just divide it into half. Keep your surface floured now. Now, what I like to do next, I like to take my side and fold it over. Take the heel of my hand and press down on that seam that I made when I folded over. Again, take your side and fold it over and press down on that seam. I'm needing a little bit more flour because it's sticking, see? You don't want it to stick, but be careful. You don't want to add too much flour or you will, well, two things. You'll make it dry, and two, you'll make it not be a pretty brown color when it cooks. So again, I'm folding over my sides, pressing down with the heel of my hand, and keeping my surface floured. Now the last thing I like to do to shape this into a loaf is to take my rolling pin and just roll out approximately the width of my pan. Now here's my pan I'm going to use. So approximately the width of my pan. And see how it's sticking? You don't want that to happen, so you keep adding a little bit of flour. You can even flip it over if you need to. Okay? So once you've rolled it just a few times, take the side that's opposite you and start rolling it gently towards you. And you can pinch the seam and even tuck in the ends a little bit and put it over into a pan that you have sprayed. Now these pans are disposable. It's an 8" by 4" disposable pan, and I use 2 of them because I'm going to have 2 loaves of bread. Now we're almost ready to smell some good smelling dough rising in your kitchen. After you have put the bread in your baking pan, take a covering, maybe like, again, a dish towel, cover it, and to help it rise quicker, I like to put it over into a lighted oven. Don't turn the oven on, just put your dough in the pan in the oven. Now, what you're going to have to do is wait anywhere from 2.5 maybe to 4 hours until the bread has risen at least 1 inch above the pan. At that point, you will cook it for 22 minutes at 350 degrees. Now, after you've cooked your bread and you remove it from the oven, now something very, very important, this is the final thing, is after the bread has cooked, you need to immediately put it over onto a wire rack. Now the reason for that is if you leave this bread in the pan that you've cooked it in, you will have soggy sides, and you don't want that to happen. So as soon as you can, take it out of the pan and put it on a cooling rack. Slice, enjoy, and your family will remember you for being the mama that cooked the homemade bread.